So this is a second attempt, really. Just I thought I'd come at it a different way. YouTube just I just say it's playing up today, but it plays up every day. It just sort of crashes halfway through, and then suddenly pops up with not enough stream or whatever it is. It's just a probably overloaded system. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to try again. Coming out from basically what I did with this if you saw this one, it may or may not become a reality. This one I was first of all the paper was in the wrong place. So this is the I got to have my eye line has to be in the middle of the paper. So consequently, the thing drops. I get the things wrong because I can't measure. And I mentioned about this people that can stare up at things and still get, don't suffer from foreshortening of things. So with that, I was talking about not drawing eyes. But really what it is I'm not telling you not to draw eyes. Draw eyes all day long. It's not a problem for me. What I'm saying is that I don't draw eyes. I don't draw eyes. This is not, for me, I'm going to draw this later this time. For me, it's more. Hang on, let me get things roughly where they need to be, and then I can. Okay. For me, it's just about because of this investigation thing. For me, it's not. It's not a known quantity. I'm just feeling my way around the face. I've said this before and without, any kind of intention to offend or anything. As a blind person would feel my way around the head. That's kind of what I do when I'm drawing. I feel my way around something. Consequently, you get this, the fallout of the marks. So I'm at no point trying to find the edges of things, the line that defines something. So eyes, really, ears, eyes, mouths, whatever. It's never about the edges of it. It's never about where's the edge of this eye. It's about the things that you see. The thing about it is that if you imagine this is lots of lines just happening, and as they get close to where it should, you watch my hand doing that. As they get close to where something needs to be defined, the lines get closer together and even become just simple marks. But at the point at which I'm finding where everything is, they're wandering around. So they're wandering around, and then, there's a point. There's something that I need to qualify. There's something that I need to make certain, to establish as being real or definite. So that's kind of what it is. So I'm not trying to draw eyes. I'm trying to draw the bits and the shapes and the tones that define that particular part of the face. So I don't know. It's not. It is a case of, in a way, a kind of anti-drawing thing. So I'm not really trying to draw in the traditional way. But at the same time, it's not a defiant way of saying everything. The other way is the wrong way, and you should do it this way. I'm not. There are too many artists on here that do that. I think every way is the right way. Whatever it is that works for you is the right way. That's the thing. Because all you're trying to do, as I said in the previous video, all you're trying to do is manifest your response, your creative response. It's not about doing it some other way or doing it some way, a particular way, a way that only, that people have told you how it should be, or a way that is the way that it's always done. It's not any of those things. It's just your way. So, as I said, I don't feel as though at any point that I'm drawing eyes. I think that when I started doing this, and I was telling people about, the way I feel about this, And one of the things was that I never refer to the elements of the face, and because it's as soon as I do, then I'm drawing an eye. You know, when I'm just drawing a bunch of shapes and looking for alignments and distances and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not really thinking in terms of an ear, for instance. I'm just thinking, well, there's a bunch of shapes here, and how do they relate to everything else? It works, but when I suddenly think of it, oh, it's a nose, or it's a an eye or a mouth, it doesn't work. It becomes about an eye or a mouth. I think mainly because I'm probably like everybody else. It's just the brain suddenly kicks in and says, right, oh, I know what a mouth looks like. Let me help you. Let me help you. And then all of a sudden, I'm drawing something that I'm not looking at. I'm drawing something I remember, which is never a good thing. You know, it's this idea that and then that when you have that kind of thinking, all of a sudden, it's the knowledge and practice route becomes a little bit of a difficult thing to rationalize, because it's kind of against all that. It's not, you know, the knowing how the structure of an eye works and all that kind of stuff. It just I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that because I'll use that. I don't want to know it because I'll suddenly start using that as the way I draw eyes. I just want to draw what I see. And I know everybody says that. It's almost like, you know, I said that to somebody once, and they said, yeah, but people don't know how to draw what they see. Yes, they do. Of course they do. You don't know. This is the thing, because this person only thinks in the terms of, you know, an eye is an outline, like on that. This person thinks that is drawing what you see. That's drawing an eye. It's a different thing. Which again is one of those contradictions. I mean, I say I just don't do it. I just don't do those predictable things. Only just because I just want to do it my way. That's all. I'm not saying it, as I said earlier. I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it. I'm just saying I want to do it my way. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the same as you should say the same thing. You should say I want to do it my way as well. Everybody should say it. They want to do it their way. That's the thing. That's when it starts to work. Yeah, part of the reason why this works is the lack of pressure to perform, to do it in a certain way, to be this good, to make it precise on certain points, and working with charcoal, obviously you're always going to have the flexibility, because it doesn't, you can do whatever you like with it. But I would say that drawing is the thing for me. I'm not one of those that want to do a great big mass of charcoal and carve a face out of it and all that. It still is a kind of drawing. For me, it's not one of those sort of contemporary type of masses of charcoal that has a face carved out of it, in a illustrative kind of way. It's response for me. I think that some of that is a bit too premeditated, and I think if anything, you've watched these before, you know that there's nothing premeditated about what I do. Sometimes I don't even have the paper ready, so I'm not really thinking about how I'm going to do it before I start doing it. I'm just going to do it, which is exactly how it should be. I just watched a guy drawing amazing pen and ink as an illustrator, and he ended up drawing this spaceman in his sketchbook. And I looked at it and I thought, how many times has he drawn a spaceman like that? It was a comic book caricature type of vibe about it. Definite illustration, amazing, really good. But it just struck me. My first thought was, how many times has he drawn a spaceman? It's just, and that for me, if I've drawn him once, I'm not drawing it again. It's I can't see the enjoyment of repeating something, and I mean, people do, don't they? I mean, you get people that just only draw one thing. When Jackson did his degree, he did fine arts at Lincoln, and there was a guy there that his whole course, his whole work for the end of the show was he just drew this one guy called Dave. That's all he drew. It was obsessed. It was a singer, I think, in a band, and this kid was obsessed with Dave, and that's all he drew. This was Dave. I think it was 560 faces in these exhibit, in his final show, drawings of Dave. But people do. Some people do that. But this guy, his spaceman was so slick. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I remember when I never heard that word when I went to work at a studio, and there were. It was pre-Mac. I mean, I've said this many times. Pre-Mac, when you got people in studios that were creative and crafty. They could actually do the thing because they had to do. You had to draw and paint, and you literally didn't have to do it in a graphic design studio. You had to paint. You paint graphics of logos and things, and sometimes illustrations. But there were people that had developed a rapid execution style, which they refer to as being a slick style, because it was so there straight away. It was refined, I suppose. That's what it was. That's why it was considered slick. But I know I've not heard that before, and then obviously as my experience grew, I felt that as well, and it was a consequence of deadlines. You had to get something out for 5 o'clock tonight, so you learned to be slick. They learned to be expedient and efficient and all those sort of things, which is fully enough what I'm talking about with eyes. So I don't draw eyes. I find a way to communicate visually what that eye is saying, what that eye is implying. I find a way to make that, call it slick if you like, but it's not the slickness is in the attitude, not an execution. So my attitude to it is, what's the quickest way I can find? And one of the things is that because my thing is glancing, so I glance backwards and forwards, and I only see moments, fragments of the image. So consequently, that's all I capture is that fragment. But that fragment is the most important bit. When you've done a drawing and you leave it on the board, or you put it in a book and then you get it out and you see instantly what is wrong with it. It's that. So I'm doing that all the time. So I'm seeing instantly what the important thing is about this face or this eye or the elements of the face. I'm seeing that those fragments that define what it is and capturing those. So that in a way is me not drawing. That's the fundamental part of me not drawing. It's literally not seeing. It's not see. It's brief observation. I said that one of the videos that I did on, let me see if this is recording. Yeah. One of the videos that I did was stop staring at your subject, because that's people do, don't they? They stare to get the exactness of things, and really it's cut the opposite effect. They get to a point where they're overwhelmed by it. Somebody said that the other day about being overwhelmed by detail. And the thing about that's not being overwhelmed by detail is not a problem with observation. It's a problem with your attitude. You actually think that the purpose of what you're doing is to capture the detail. So, and that then can be overwhelming. You think, oh, I've got to draw that. I'm going to draw that. Those stripes. Somebody turns up in your studio with a striped shirt, and you think, God, have I got to draw all that? I mean, I see people do that. There's somebody who is a young and up-and-coming painter type of person, and they draw stripy shirt, people in stripy shirts, and they only do it just to say, "Look, I'm drawing people in stripy shirts," you know. And it's that's really impressive. So, and the thing about it is, it's got kind of a decorative quality, you know, because it is a you know a blue shirt or whatever, you know. And then obviously there's the overwhelming impressiveness of that. You got all the lines in the right place. You got everyone's perfect, magnificent. You know, it's that. Like I say, it's a psychology thing, really, more than anything else. I'm not decrying what they do at all. I think it's wonderful. I would never do that, but at the same time, don't take me for a fool. You know, so you know, I can see through the charade. They may not be able to see through it because they've succumbed to the way, if you know what I mean. So this is the way. This is the way we always do it. Everybody does it this way, and if you don't do it this way, there's something wrong with you. Well, unfortunately, I don't do it like that. I do it my way, and if my way is not good enough for people, then I don't care. I'm still going to do it my way. And that, I think, again, is back to the eye thing. You know, I'm always pleased, if you like, when I'm not drawn the eye, and yet it still looks like an eye. It's just like without trying. I mean, obviously I am trying, but without trying, the eye suddenly appears, and I like that. I like the concept of not trying, or the appearance of not trying. You know, that if you can see if you can see the effort in something, then it's craft. If you can't see the effort, then it's art. You know, it's that. You look at a prima ballerina, and you see right there what I'm saying. You know, if it's effortless, it needs to look effortless. That's the thing. That's the thing that's probably the thing that the purity of intention I talk about. You know, the purity of creative intention. I think that is the effortlessness. But response is, you know what I mean? It's like forget about the actual doing of this, but your pure creative intention. You know, your pure response to something will always be effortless. It only becomes effort when you try and make it look like something that somebody else wants you to draw it like. As soon as that you want to draw it like somehow in a way that somebody else draws it, then the effort comes in. Oh yeah, but that's how it should be, they'll say. No, it's not. It's not. And the beauty of having it, you know, it being just your creative response, is that if it requires you to acquire necessary skills, then you will. It's as simple as that. But you won't acquire them simply on the basis that somebody says you should do it like that. You will acquire them in the right way. You know what I mean? It's the in a way that is, you know, the people say about practice. That is what practice is. So you know, again, in a way, it's like a kind of self-fulfilling thing, but it'll only work properly if you're clear in your intention. That's the only way it'll work. If it's about your intention is to do it as good as somebody else or do it in somebody else's way, it doesn't work. You just become another one of this, whoever this person is you're trying to replicate, and that there's no art in being somebody else. No matter how well you can copy Van Gogh. Quite like the idea of being a forger, though. I say, have you seen that guy on YouTube that forges, the professional Emma went to prison? That's like, you know what I mean? That's, I don't know where that, I don't know really where that sits with me. You know, the idea of forging great works. I don't know. It's like, on the one hand, I like it because it dismisses the myths, you know, that, but on the other hand, I think they're missing the point. I have the same problem with people who do master copies. Do they really think that it's just about production? Do they really think it's just about how well he dragged the brush around and what paints he used and how he mixed them? Do they really think it's that? You know, the reason why these people were great, not all of them, some of them were great because they just happened to be in the right circles. And but the real reason why some of them are great, apart from the fact that there is a, you know, it's like the Einstein thing, you know, you become a favorite, like a Tesla and what's his face, not Newton, the other one, you know, Tesla's competitor. It's that, you know, because they were favorites, weren't they? You know, the same as Einstein was a favorite. I think there are plenty of more that were just as innovative, shall we say? But that's the thing about artists. When there are real artists, when they really sort of resonate with the creative cosmos, and they're able to manifest their creative intention, you can't. That's not something you can copy. You know, like somebody said to me, he copied I forget what it was now, but he got some classic paint because he wanted to know how the guy worked his brush marks and things. But he did a digital copy. He did it on a computer. And that doesn't illustrate my point. I don't know what does. But anyway, it's yeah. As you can see, I'm not drawing eyes. If I can zoom in on this for you to see the eyes that I'm drawing, let me see if this works. Hold on. If not, I'm going to bring. It's not bad. That is it focused ish. Right, I'm thinking about that there. This is the not drawing eyes. You can see I'm not drawing eyes. There's everything in there that tells me what the eye is, but it's not drawn. So and that's my goal, if you like. That's the goal is not to draw, which is a bit, I don't know. I don't know why that's the thing for me. Why I'm fascinated by that. I think yeah. I'll tell you what it might be, because I'm all kind of response driven. Whatever is happening with these marks is my response, and therefore it's not a considered drawing of something. I have no desire to illustrate that face. I have no desire to actually illustrate it in such a way that it tells you exactly what this person looks like, and I want to tell you, I want to show you what they look like and what they feel like to me, my emotional response. But as to whether or not they've got blue eyes or whatever, if it was color, maybe it might be an issue. But you know, the shape of the eyes, the lid, and all the rest of it, I can just see highlights that are popping through. And there's not even anything there that looks like an eye. That's anywhere near an eye. And I don't know if this is like impressionistic stuff. I don't know whether or not that is, you know, if Monet ran out and tried to capture the steam and then down to the harbour afterwards to try and capture the boats. I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of it is just, it shouldn't be diagnosed or examined. I think it should just be what it is, and accepted for what it is. Which is why, again, back to this idea of master copies or felt forgeries or whatever. I think that again is one of those. For me, it works against the whole point of this. This is really what it is. You know, art is what it is. It's art because it's not art because of anything. It's just art is, and that's it. if you want to call it art. I'm not, as I said before, I'm not really a fan of the designation of art. I'm going to leave it quite close. I was just thinking then it looks a bit close for me to be for you to see me doing this, but it's not a problem. The charcoal, by the way, is this is the homemade stuff, and this is the terrible copy of paper. I'm not always using this. It's just that I can't get any more of the stuff that I like. So I'm not paying top whack for Winsor and Newton or whatever else, Daler, whatever. What's that other one that they use? I'm not interested in spending loads of money on paper. Not with the amount of drawings that I do, and even then I wouldn't. You know, if it wasn't an issue. But what the thing is happening, which is what I like, is this. You can see this the undulations that occur because of the charcoal, because it doesn't sit on the it doesn't embed within the paper in any way. It kind of sits on the surface. So every time I make a mark on it above, on top of the previous marks, it takes off the certain amount of the previous charcoal that's on there, and it creates the effect. It happened on. I used it. I mean, I know I'm doing it. I used it on this, on the hair. You can see on the hair of that afro hair. You can see I'm using these undulations to create the effect of hair. But that's the charcoal doing that. I'm not really trying to make it happen. It just does that, and I'm taking advantage of it. That's all. So apart from getting the ear a bit flatter, everything else is where it should be, I think. Let me just kill that. It's one of those things where the viewer will fill that bit in. you know that I don't worry about that bit. The viewer will fill that bit in. That's not. I'm not going to worry about that bit. The viewer can see to that. So I'm done, and I'm done without any crashing. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It means that I'm going to edit this now, and I'll put it up. You're watching it, and you're watching the edited version. So there you go. But the main thing is not drawing. I don't draw eyes. Look at that one. That's even better. If I take it off the thing, I don't know whether or not it'll stay in focus, but if you know what I mean. There, can you see that? Oh, is it focusing? Ish. There. So it's that we're talking about. There's nothing there about an eye, but there is an eye there. It's back in focus in a minute. There you go. So, yeah. That's it. Like I say, I'm just going to fix the tones so there's a bit more in the ear, a little bit better. I think the ear needs to be defined with a rubber. It's about the right size, actually. Looking at it, it's the right size. It just needs to be a little bit more finessed on it. So I'll do that with the rubber. Yeah. Right. I'll leave you, and I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to do another one in a bit. Just going to draw something, I think. I just want to get this one out of the way, really. Because it's one of those. It's really important. It's really important to me that I explain why I do what I do, just in case it helps somebody. That's all. I'm not really saying, "Oh, do it like this. You're guaranteed." You know that thing that says those videos that say, If you do this, you'll always be able to draw eyes. That's not me. I'm just saying this is how I do it. If it helps, great. Right.